Hi, good afternoon, everyone. In this class, we are discussing the current affairs specifically of last week. And in the current affairs series, every Friday we are having a class at 2:30 and a test on every Saturday at 11 a.m. The date of the test will be the last week date, means it will be from today the 1st. It's 21 to 25 of August. Means you need to read the Edukemy current affairs from its website from the date 21 to 25. So all the questions of the test will be from these area only. And the sum of the topic I will teach here, maybe the 5 or 6 topics. And the sum of the question you will find from the discussion itself. The benefit of attending these classes, like you will understand how to read the newspaper, how we can use the content in the mains perspective or the prelims perspective, how we can attempt the different kind of the question. When you are attending these classes and attempting the question paper, you have a clear idea what we are reading and what we are finding in the questions. जो हमारा focus specifically that is shifted toward the exam oriented approach, जो एक requirement है exam का. Otherwise we are reading continuously, but हमें पता नहीं है कि उस content को कहाँ पे use करना है. So the usage of the content is the more important now, because the market is flooded with the material. आपको material हर जगह मिल जाएगा. You will find a 10-page notes on a single topic, but how to use that 2 lines which are most important of that topic into the any questions, even it's for the prelims or the mains. That's the idea behind these classes. So we are covering these resources: the Hindu, Indian Express, Times of India, Hindustan Times, down to earth. So there is no need to go through the multiple paper. You can just read a single paper, that only the editorial. If you are reading the editorial on a continuous basis, means you are developing your thought process, you are developing your idea, you are learning how to interrelate the different perspective, the different subjects, how we can relate the geography with economy, how we can relate the economy with the international relation, or how we can use the data. So you can read just a single editorial on daily basis instead of going through the complete paper. So these are the topics we will cover today. First is the Sulina channel. Second is the suspension of member of parliaments. Third, gene edited mustard. Fourth is the infrastructure debt fund, NBFC. Government released the definition of green hydrogen and the acoustic side channel attacks. These are the 6 topics we will cover today. Anyone can tell me where is the Sulina channel? In which country? Let's see, it relates to your subject GS1, comes under geography. If you see the trends in prelims paper, they are increasing the question based on the locations. Last year, there are the 7 to 8 questions in 2023 in the prelims specific to the location. So when we will discuss about the Sulina channel, we will see the various locations around the Black Sea, the ports of the Ukraine, ports of Russia, as well as about the Danube River. Next is the suspension of MPs. It comes under the General Study 2, Polity and Governance. During the session of the parliament, we are looking at speaker, even it's the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, suspending the member of parliament of the opposition party. So what is the process behind that suspension? If any member is suspended, what is his take on? उसके लिए क्या-क्या availability नहीं है parliament में if any member is suspended. Third is the gene edited mustard. We will see here what is the difference between genetically modified mustard and the gene edited mustard. Next, this is related to the GS3 economy. This is about the infrastructure debt fund, and this will come under GS3 science and technology. Definition of the green hydrogen will comes under the various, it can come under the GS1 or the GS3. Under geography, it will come under GS1. Under economy, it will come under GS3. And acoustic side channel attacks, this come under the GS3. Yeah, even under the GS3, science as well as the security. Science as well as the security. So this is the linkage of these topics with your syllabus. So whenever you are reading any of the topics from the newspaper, you should know from which part of your syllabus these topics are linked and how you can read these topics. So you can have an idea how I can use these topics or how these topics can be appear in the examination. तो जब तक वो आइडिया नहीं है क्या आएगा, कैसे आएगा, क्वेश्चन किस तरीके से फ्रेम होगा, तो उसको पढ़ना ही लाइक अ टाइम वेस्ट है आपका, क्योंकि आप लोगों को याद नहीं रहेगा until unless you have a question mark how I can use this in the paper. So let's see the first topic, the Sulina channel. This news was in the Indian Express, the importance of the Sulina channels to the Ukraine grain trade. Do you know the Ukraine is the one of the largest exporter of the food grains to the Europe? After the Russia and the Ukraine war, so there is a various issue related to the trade exports due to the ports occupied by the Russia and some of the ports are occupied by the Ukraine. So there is a disagreement between the Russia and Ukraine. So the supply from the Ukraine to the European country are stopped after the war. But in July 2022, United Nations with Russia signed a deal known as Black Sea Grain Deal. Black Sea Grain Deal. This deal is signed by the United Nations, Russia plus Turkey. These three members signed this deal and known as the Black Sea Grain Deal. Under this deal, the food products, the agriculture products, which are going to be exported to the European Union will come to the Ukrainian port and they will be checked for any arms or the ammunition. If they are having any arms or the explosive, then they will be passed to the Europe. Through this deal, the Russia want to also export their food products, their agriculture products like wheat, even with some of the other products as well. So this deal continued till June 2023. June 2023. But after the June 2023, Russia disagreed that we will not going to be continue this deal. The reason was given by the Russia. Western country suspended our financial accounts. There is a no SWIFT used by the Western country for the Russia. There is a ban on the insurance company of Russia into the West. So we cannot operate under these sanctions and our products cannot be passed to the European Union under these sanctions. So that's why the Russia stopped this Black Sea Grain Deal. But now the European country want to export from the Ukraine itself. So if they want to export with the Ukraine, so they start with this Sulina channel. They start with this Sulina channel. This is a channel of Danube River in Romania. Channel of Danube River in Romania. And this is almost 70-kilometer channel, which will lead to the export of the food grains to the Ukrainian ports in the Black Sea. And from the Black Sea Ukrainian port, it will go to the European Union. So this is the brief background related to the Sulina channels. कैसे Sulina channels पे आए after the Black Sea Grain Deal. There are the various ports in the Black Sea, 3 to 4 ports with the Russia and the 3 to 4 ports with the Ukraine. So that's why there's an issue related to the exports of the food product to the European country. But what is important for us? The other two channels. What are the other two channels of Danube River? Anybody can tell me? There are 3 channels of the Danube River. When the Danube River fall to the Black Sea, it for the 3 channels. Out of the one is the Sulina channels. Any other 2 channels, anybody can tell? All of you are the geography optional, na? So we need to know about other two channels. Huh? No, Volga is a river in the Russia. Other two channels, we need to know about the location of Ukrainian ports in the Black Sea. बताता हूं. We need to know about the location of the port of Russia. We need to know about the country bounding the Black Sea. So these are the things important for your prelims. We need to know about the channels of the Danube River. We need to know about the ports of the Ukraine in that region, ports of Russia in the Black Sea, as well as the country bounding the Black Sea. If you see the question paper of 2023 or 2022, you will find some of the location directly asked from this region, the Black Sea region. They're asking the questions because of the Russia-Ukraine war. This year also there were 2 questions from this region. So that's why this region will become very important. The other thing we need to remember about the Danube River. Danube River passes through how many countries? Danube River passes through how many countries? Now that we need to know. It passes through the 10 country of the Europe. It passes through the 10 country and it is the second largest river in the world. So we need to know about these facts, these data for the prelims perspective. For the mains perspective, there can be a question related to the Black Sea, how the Black Sea play an important role for the export to the European country. Those case mein you need to know about the mapping locations there. हाँ बता रहा हूँ. So the main we discuss about the UN food aid programs. The Ukraine mainly exports for the Ukraine food UN food aid programs in the various country. We can say in the Syria, we can say in the some of the other affected country, in the some of the case in the Afghanistan also, in the Central Asian country also. So that food aid program, food come through Ukraine. So Ukraine is the largest participant here, but after the Russian-Ukraine war, this completely stopped. Due to this, there is a seen inflation in the some of the Asian countries as well, some of the European countries as well. Even in the case of the Pakistan, there is a skyrocketing price of the wheat during this time. So the UN interfere with this program and they start the deal with the Russia as a Black Sea grain deal. But that is ended in June 2023. And Ukraine is known as the bread basket of Europe. So you can use this phrase in your introduction whenever there is a question in the mains. The Ukraine is known as the bread basket for the Europe. So there are 3 channels: Chilia, Sulina, and the St. George. You can note down these channels of the Danube River. The one channel is the Chilia channels, Sulina channels, and the St. George channels. These are the 3 channels of the Danube River. And now they are exporting through the Sulina channels. And this Sulina channel is known as the Riverine Expressway. Like there is expressway, Noida Expressway. Similarly, this is the water expressway for the transporting the food and grains. And this is a 63-kilometer long channel. Some say it's 63, some say it's between 63 to 70 kilometer. So number is not important, but it's between the 60 to 70 kilometer. This channel is long. It's having the 3 major channels: the Chilia channels, Sulina channels, and the St. George channels. It play a crucial role in the route connecting the major Ukrainian port in the Black Sea with the Romanian border. Anybody can tell me any of the port name of the Ukraine in the Black Sea? A very famous port of the Ukraine. Do you ever heard about Odessa port? ODESA. This is the famous port of the Ukraine. And that was asked by the UPSC. So you need to remember the name of the ports. You need to remember the name of the location. You need to remember the water bodies nearby, which are the country bounding the Black Sea. Anybody can tell me the country bounding the Black Sea? There are 6 countries, not only the single. Georgia, Turkey, Bulgaria, Romania, Russia, and Ukraine. They are the 6 countries. You can remember their name through the mnemonics GTR, brew. Or you can also remember through the burger tea. Anybody love the coffee? You can remember the GTR brew. Those who love the tea, they can remember through the burger tea. Georgia, Turkey, Romania, Bulgaria, Russia, and Ukraine. So you need to remember the names of the country, those who are bounding the Black Sea. Okay. So let's see about these channels. This is the Sulina channels through which the trade is going to start with the European country as well as through the port of the Ukraine. And these are the other 2 channels, Chilia channels and the St. George channels. If we want to see it clearly, this is the Danube River and this is going to divide here into the multiple channels. Now let's see. This is the complete channel. This is the part of the Black Sea. And this is the Sulina channel which passes through the country. And this finally through the Danube River. Now, the specific idea about the Danube River, it passes through from which of the following country? There can be a question. They can give the 4 or 5 country names. The names can be Germany, Austria, Slovakia, Hungary, Serbia, Bulgaria. And nowadays they're asking the question type, through how many countries the Danube River is passing through. There is no elimination option. Even you can directly mark it right or the wrong. So you need to remember the complete information from which country the Danube River is passing through. So there are 10 countries, the Germany, you can write Germany, Austria, Slovakia, Hungary, Croatia, Serbia, Bulgaria, Romania, Moldova, and the Ukraine. These are the 10 countries through which this river passes. And these are 3 channels, that are important channels. And this is the second largest river in the world. The first river, Volga. Volga in Russia. This is the largest river, Volga in Russia. And Danube River is the one of the river which passing through the maximum country. इससे ज़्यादा country से और कोई river pass नहीं करती है. This river is passing through the 10 countries. Now let's see. This is the Danube River. We can see its path. It's passing through the maximum country. So mainly you need to know the name of the country through which it's passed. And now we will see about the ports. These are the Black Sea and the country bounding the Black Sea. We can see Ukraine, Russia, Georgia, Turkey, Bulgaria, and Romania. These are the 6 countries through which the Black Sea is bounded by. Anybody can tell me about the Caspian Sea? Which country bounding the Caspian Sea? You're having the map, you're having the Google, so you can search. So this is a simple thing you need to remember. For the geography optional, it is the must one. As an optional student, you need to draw these kind of the maps in your answers to get the extra marks. Otherwise, you will not get a good marks. You will get the average mark 30-35%. If you're drawing the diagrams, you're drawing the side maps, you're drawing the regional maps, then only you can get the extra marks. Vaishnavi is saying Tariq. Tariq is the mnemonics for the Caspian Sea? Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Russia, Iran, Kazakhstan. So these are the countries which are bounding the Caspian Sea, Tariq. Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Russia, Iran, and the Kazakhstan. So you need to remember these also. Now let's move about see the ports of the Ukraine. The first port you can see, Odisha port. You can write the name. The Odisha port, Kornomox, here, Pivdeni port, Kherson port, Mykolaiv port. Odisha, Kornomox, Pivdeni, Mykolaiv, Kherson, and this Kilia port. This year they asked about this port, Odisha port. Now let's see how many of the ports are controlled by the Russia. सबने लिख लिया? So the red color are controlled by Russia, Kherson, Mariupol, Berdyansk, and these blue color are by the Ukraine, Mykolaiv, okay, Odisha, Kornomox. And there is another water body, Sea of Azov. Whenever you see any of the news related to the river, related to the lakes, related to the sea, you need to look at it from all perspective about the country. If the river is dried up or it's passing through which of the following country, that's required. Because in the prelims, UPSC is only asking these kind of the question. उससे ज़्यादा information required नहीं होती है. You just need to know about the three things. Okay. Now, this is your homework. Which country bounding the Sea of Azov? One is the Russia. One is Russia. So now let's come to the second topic. So in the first topic, we see about the Danube River, Ukrainian port, Russian port, country bounding the Black Sea, country bounding the Caspian Sea, channels, three channels of the Danube River passing through which of the following country? It's passing through the 10 country. It's the second largest river. Through the Ukraine, they are passing exporting the food products or the food from Ukraine to the European country and the United National Aid Program. It's the largest country which are exporting the food products, not the second largest. Okay, so these are 6-7 things we read from that news, and this is not given in the news itself. So you need to search that. You can only search when you have an idea how this news can be linked to my syllabus, which kind of the question the UPSC has been asking on these kind of the topics, then only I can relate this can be asked in the next paper. If we are just reading the news about the Sulina channels, because the newspaper only covering the Sulina channel, they are telling that Sulina channel is a channel of the Danube River and in the Romania. That's the only information given in the newspaper. If you want to cover comprehensively, you need to link the topic with the syllabus, topic with the previous year question, then only you can cover comprehensively. Even when you are reading any of the current affair magazines available in the market, you will find the half of the information in the topics. But the UPSC is asking the extraordinary information that can be linked to the previous year question of the examination. If you see the weightage of the magazine, whenever you are reading the 1200 page of the magazine, I am taking an average of the 100 pages per month. There is only the 1 or 2 questions direct from the magazine. So what is the ROI, return on investment? If you are reading the 1200 to 1500 pages and you are just getting the 1 or 2 question in the prelims, it's a completely, I think it's a waste of time. Until and unless you are linking that with the syllabus and you are reading the selected topic. If you are reading on regularly basis, you are attempting the test regularly, you have a clear idea how we can approach these kind of the news and how we can approach the exam. Okay, now let's come to the second topic for today. Illegal, irrational, unconstitutional, the suspension of the member of parliament. What is the procedure for the suspension? Anybody can tell what is the procedure for the suspension of the member of parliament? Even if the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. It's not the no confidence motion. No confidence motion can move against the government. Huh? That is a disqualification. That's not the suspension. There is a difference between the disqualification and the suspension. Yes. Under the rule of the Lok Sabha and under the rule of the Rajya Sabha, the respective chair, even chaired by the speaker or a deputy speaker, chairman or a deputy chairman, they have the power to suspend any of the member of the parliament. They can suspend in a specific case if we are speaking against the chair, means against the speaker and the deputy speaker or the chairman. They are not listening the chairman, or they are creating a condition which are not able so that the parliament house cannot run smoothly. So in that case, the chairman or the speaker can take a decision related to the suspension of these MP. And this finally suspension, the government moved the suspension motion. Government moved the suspension motion against these candidates, against these MP, and then finally they are suspended from the parliament. Recently, these MP are suspended from the parliament related to the same case. Even it's about the Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary of the Congress. This is the Aam Aadmi Party MLA. This is also. So these members are suspended from the parliament. Now we need to. What is the important thing here? Suspend हो गया, ऐसा question कभी नहीं आएगा कि who has the power to suspend. They will ask a question after the suspension. What are the rights? What are the privileges the MP cannot get? क्या नहीं मिलेगा उसे? Everybody know the power in the hand of the chairman or the speaker will relate to the suspension of the member of parliament. But what can be the availability? If any notice related to the session of the parliament will be sent to these MPs, they are allowed to attend the session or not. They can vote or not in any of the cases. That kind of the question can be framed in the prelims. So you need to be focused on what are the powers available to them, what are the powers not available to them. The second type of the question can be framed here under the rule of the Lok Sabha and then under the rule of the Rajya Sabha. There are different rules for the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. They can give you, this is written in the constitution, but this is not written in the constitution. This is under the rule of Lok Sabha and the rule of the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so let's see about the topic. So recently they are suspended on violating the directive of the chair. Chair mentioned here specifically for the speaker of the Lok Sabha and the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So under the Lok Sabha rule 373, under the rule number 373 of the Lok Sabha, they are suspending the member of parliament. And under the rule 374, there is a motion which passed through against the MPs. So under the rule 373 and under the rule 374, the speaker of the Lok Sabha has the power to suspend the member of the parliament from the Lok Sabha. Similarly, in the Rajya Sabha, under the rule 256, under the rule 256, the Rajya Sabha chairman or a deputy chairman has the power to suspend the member of the Rajya Sabha from the parliament. So you can use these articles or these rules whenever you are writing the mains question. But for the prelims perspective, they will not ask about specifically about the rules. They will give you the general statements, what available to these MP, what are not available to these MP. Let's see what are the power available to them now. What are the implications? What are the implications of the suspending members from the parliament? The first, suspended members cannot participate, potentially hampering legislative activities. He cannot further participate in any of the activity of the parliament, cannot enter the chamber attending the meeting of the committee, like some of the MP are the member of the different parliamentary committee. They even cannot attend the meetings. Not eligible to give notice for discussion or the submission. Whenever there is a discussion in the parliament related to any of the bill, the parliament send the notification to the each MP related to discussion, so they can attend the discussion. But in the case of the suspended MPs, they will not send, or they are not eligible for the notice. They lose the right to get a reply. Means as a MP, I have a right to ask a question in the parliament, and I had also a right so that they can give the answer of my question during the discussion session. But after the suspension, I lose the right to get a reply. I can ask a question and nobody can give the answer. So these are the right, and these are specifically important for the prelims perspective. They will give you the 3-4 statements, how many of the implications, how many of the rights are available to the suspended member of the parliaments. So we need to remember these 4 points related to the implications on the suspended member of parliament. Not eligible to give notice for discussion or submission. Like all of you are the member of parliament. All of you have a right to give the notice to the parliament regarding the discussion on a particular topic. Like in the latest parliament session, the MP gave a notice for the Manipur discussion. You want to give a notice for the Manipur discussion, but you are not eligible if you are a suspended MP. In that case, you cannot give the notification. Now, next topic is about the gene edited mustard. Gene edited mustard. Anybody can tell me the difference between GMO and the gene edited mustard? Genetically modified mustard and the genetically edited mustard. Mustard Dhara variety. Dhara variety of mustard is a genetically modified variety of mustard. So what is the difference between the addition and the modification? Okay. There is a simple difference. In genetic modification of the crop or the genetic modification of the organism or the animal, we are introducing an outside gene. We are introducing a gene into the body of plant or the animal from outside. It is not from the plant or animal body. It is introduced from the outside. But in the case of the gene editing, we are editing the same gene which is present in the plant itself. Which is present in the plant itself. I want to create a drought-resistant variety of mustard. I want to create a variety of mustard which is a disease-resistant. For this, there is no need to introduce a new gene. I can edit the same gene present into the mustard crop and I can get the variety. But in the case of the modification, if I want to get the higher produce, like with respect to the BT cotton, I want a specific addition of the gene which particularly impacting the production of the crop, like the pink bollworm in the specific case of the BT cotton. So I need to introduce a gene, the name BT, Bacillus thuringiensis, into the body of the plant. So introduction, the gene from the outside will come under the genetically modification. And editing of the gene, the inside gene of a particular plant or the organism for a particular purpose that lead to the genetic editing. यहाँ पे आप कोई नया इंट्रोड्यूस नहीं कर रहे हैं. Here you are introducing a new gene. So this is the difference between the GMO and the GE. ये सबसे बड़ा कंफ्यूजन रहता है कि दोनों ही जेनेटिकली हैं, but in one we are introducing a new gene and where in another we are not introducing any another gene. So this is a gene edited mustard. So take an example of the mustard itself. We have a two mustard. One is the Dhara mustard, which is genetically modified mustard, and this is a gene edited mustard. Whenever you smell the mustard oil, it's having a pungent smell, highly pungent smell. That's why some of the people are not using the mustard oil in the cooking. So to decrease that pungent smell, scientists use the gene editing tool, so it can decrease the pungent smell, or that oil can be used for particularly purpose. So it can reduce the import of the oil from the country. So that decrease in the pungent smell will help you to increase in the usage of the mustard oil. Now in nowadays we are not using much mustard oil for the usage of the food, for the usage of any other preparation. We are using the soybean oil, we are using the palm oil, which we are importing from the South Asian country. To get this issue resolved, the scientists start researching on the mustard and they decrease the pungent smell of the mustard. Now, this pungent smell is almost equal to the other oils. Almost equal to the other oils. So to decrease this pungent smell, they start editing the mustard gene that is inside the mustard. So this is the gene editing, where in the case of the Dhara mustard, they introduce a gene from the outside to increase the productivity, of the mustard, to prevent the mustard from the, we can say, the bacteria or the any kind of the other pathogens which are impacting the production of the mustard. Here they decrease the pungent smell, here they are focusing on the production. So this is a difference between the GMO and the GE. Whenever you see the question of the prelims, you will find the 2-3 questions related to the biotechnology. And the biotechnology is a favorite area of the UPSC. So there is higher chance you will get a question from the genetic modification and the genetic editing. Yes, we can use for increasing production, but that also, it is feasible or not. Whenever we are editing any gene, if it's not giving the desired result, in that case, we are using the GMO. But if the editing is giving the desired result, in that case, we are using the gene editing. Like in the mustard, simply the gene which is giving the high pungent smell, they modified that gene through the various chemicals. So that smell of the gene start reducing it. तो जो pungent smell था mustard का वो decrease होना शुरू हो गया. Here we are introducing the gene. There is a difference between the biological product and the chemical products. Here we are editing the DNA. We are introducing the new DNA, new RNA from the other organism. But here we are not introducing the any of the DNA or RNA. So there is a difference between the biological and the chemical. Yes. हाँ, यहाँ पे biological products हो रहे हैं, पर DNA editing कर रहे हैं. हाँ? Yes. Here, 1 minute. No. You are not understanding the concept. Genetically modification means we are editing the genes. We are introducing new genes. What is the difference between the butanol and the DNA? If I am using the butanol or I am using the DNA? DNA आपको रोड पे मिल जाएगा. फिर butanol you can buy from the shop. And in the DNA editing, I need to edit, like this is the structure of the DNA. This is the structure of the DNA. If I want to edit this DNA, I will introduce a new gene here. I will introduce a new gene from the any of the required properties in here, and this DNA will start copying this gene into itself. ये जो जीन है वो इसको प्रोड्यूस करना शुरू कर देगा. Through the process of translation, they start producing the desired result. This is the process of the gene editing. But in the case of this is the process of gene modification. In the case of the gene editing, we are not doing anything with the DNA. इसके साथ हम कुछ नहीं कर रहे. ठीक है? So this is the difference. So they are editing the GTR, gene edited mustard. Yes, any question? So in this case, there is a chemical presence known as the glucoisonolates. Glucosinolates. This chemical increase the smell in mustard, the pungent smell. And the scientist worked on this chemical from the seed. It is present in the leaves of the plants. So they start working on the glucosinolates, and they decrease the content of the glucosinolates into the new seeds, which reduce the pungent smell of the seeds, and that can be easily produce the new kind of the seeds. So that's complete through the gene editing only. There is no introduction of the new genes. So by lowering the glucosinolates content in the dry seeds, they start producing the new kind of the seeds known as the GTR, gene edited mustards. And GTR gene is the glucosinolate transporter gene. Glucosinolate transporter gene. तो इसलिए इसको बोला गया GTR edited mustard. Glucosinolates transporter gene edited mustard. And there is another quality of the mustard is known as the rapeseed mustard. This rapeseed mustard is having very less pungent smell. Similarly, now the same GTR gene edited mustard is equivalent to this rapeseed mustard having the less smell of these glucosinolates. That will reduce the amount of the glucosinolates and that decrease the smell as a pungent smell of the mustard oil. So it's low pungent mustard, that is the pest and the disease resistant. There is another reason also. When these mustard are given to the animals, they are not eating much due to the pungent smell. Whenever we are producing the oil from mustard, there is something left behind known as the mustard cake. And animals are not eating these mustard cakes due to the high pungent smell. That is also the requirement. Like this should be utilized as a food for the animals. So they can use it as a food, and this oil can be utilized by the population. So there can be a decrease on the basis of the imports from the another country. So both the issue are solved from the decreasing the pungent smell of the mustard. And they specifically mention there is no any foreign gene present in the gene edited mustard like the foreign gene present into the DMH11 Dhara mustard variety. And the gene name is the Barnes bar star. This is the gene present in the Dhara mustard variety. This is the gene present into the Dhara mustard variety. And the gene edited mustard is not having any gene. Okay. So which kind of the question can be framed on this topic? So this is the rapeseed mustard and this is the normal mustard. Normal mustard is having the dark black color, where the rapeseed mustard is having the brownish color. There is a difference between both kind of the mustard. This mustard is having the high pungent smell and this mustard is having the low pungent smell. So the kind of the question can be framed specifically to the prelims. They can ask about the thing about gene editing and the genetically modification. And if they are going extra, they can ask about the question on the glucosinoates के बारे में पूछ सकते हैं. Glucosinolates के बारे में question they can ask. So about the glucosinolate is present in the leaves and the pod wall of the mustard plants, and it is known as the glucosinolates transporter gene, which is transferring this glucosinolate from the seed to the leaves. From the seed to the leaves. यहाँ से this GTR gene transferring to the leaves. And in the leaves, it prevent it from the bacteria. It prevent it from the pathogen. So it will not impact the production of the mustard seeds. Initially, what is the issue? The scientist was successful in decreasing the GTR content into the mustard initially also, but the plant is not resistant to the bacteria and pathogen in those cases. But the latest achievement, the plant is also resistant to the bacteria and the pathogens and also having the less pungent smell. Initially, the plant was not able to protect itself from the bacteria, but having the less pungent smell. Now, both the ideas are achieved, and finally they are start releasing this into the market after some other experiments. And what can lead, if we are taking the high amount of the glucosinolates, it can cause goiter, means the swelling of the neck, and it also can cause some of the other internal organ abnormalities. High glucosinolate reduce the feed intake of livestock, because the high glucosinolate having the high pungent smell that lead to the less feed intakes. So there can be a question related to the application of the glucosinolates. What are the issue related to the glucoisosinolates? So there can be a question related to it in the prelims. But there is no explanation given in the newspaper about the glucoisosinolates. Newspaper, they are just giving this term, glucosinolates. That you need to remember also, it can cause the goiter. It can also lead to the less feed intake into the livestock. If you see the question in the 2022 prelims, there was a question related to the lemongrass. Which of the following is used as a mosquito repellent? There was a question in the 2022. And the option were given the 4. One out of them is a lemongrass. This is the mosquito repellent. So that kind of the question can also be framed with similar to the glucosinolates. So randomness nahi hai paper mein. If you see there is a randomness in the prelims, aisa nahi hai. I can say there is a randomness in the 25 to 30% of the question, but the 70% of the question, if you are preparing well, you can attempt those questions easily. So उस case में आपको specifically, you need to be clear your funda, you need to be clear what exactly going in the newspaper, and you need to be strengthen your basics part. Like this difference between the GMO and the GE is the basic science that you need to be remember. Without this basic science, you cannot answer this kind of the question. So means you need to make your basic strong so you can easily attempt some of the other questions. Now, next topic is about the IDF and BFC. Yes. Canola quality is a type of pure quality. जो रेप सीड मस्टर्ड से मिलता है ऑयल, this is a type of oil which we are getting from the rapeseed mustard, and we are comparing this pure quality of the rapeseed mustard with the edited mustard. So it's having the equivalent amount of glucosinolates as the canola quality. नहीं, it's a natural one. It's a natural one. ठीक है. Now the RBI issue revised guidelines for the IDF NBFC, Infrastructure Development Fund. Infrastructure Development Fund, NBFC, Non-Banking Financial Corporation. Initially, the Reserve Bank of India give an NBF status to the infrastructure development fund companies, and now there is a certain modification. Initially, there is a requirement of the present of the any of the NBFC, like some of the any NBFC are supporting their name, they are giving their name to the RBI, so they can give them as a status of IDF NBFC. Infrastructure development fund can be a individual fund, can be a private fund, can be related to some of the another agency, and they can only investment into the large infrastructural projects, and the minimum investment period is the 5 years. Means the minimum investment period for these agencies is 5 years, and they should be supported by any of the NBFC. And these are under the control of Reserve Bank of India. These NBFCs are under the control of Reserve Bank of India. So IDF NBFC as a financial company are specialized to financial entities registered as a NBFC to facilitate the flow of long-term debt to the infrastructure projects. Infrastructure projects like the housing projects, road projects, rail projects, which are taking the long time, so we can develop these kind of the projects. So these kind of the projects are funded by the IDF. ये agency इनको fund करती हैं under these NBFC. In the prelims, if you see the question of the 2020 prelims, there is a question related to the NBFC and the type of the NBFC. At the time, the RBI introduced the two new kind of the NBFC, so they asked the question related to that. So if there are any of the news related to the NBFC, you need to look at the old type of the NBFC. NBFC are under the control of the which banking entity? It's under the control of SEBI or the RBI, that you need to remember. What are the conditions required for an NBFC? That is also required here. So these are the direct comes under the control of the Reserve Bank of India. These NBFC are comes under the control of the Reserve Banks of India. And these are the only infrastructure finance company can sponsor the IDF NBFC. Initially, this was required. कोई भी infrastructure finance company होगी that can sponsor these IDF NBFC, but now this is removed by the RBI. It is not an requirement. Now an individual company can also sponsor the IDF NBFC. उसके लिए infrastructure finance company होना जरूरत नहीं है. And NBFC is permitted to the infrastructure projects that completed at least the 1 year operation. Like the government is constructing this Katra to Delhi road, Delhi to Katra highway, and there is a condition after the operation of the 1 year of this road, these NBFC can operate. These infrastructure development finance company can operate that road for the longer terms. So they can maintain their infrastructure, they can maintain their operation like the PPP projects, and they are operating through the toll operate transfer projects. So after the completion of the projects, or in between the completion after the operation after 1 year, they can take that projects and run that in the longer time. And in the revised guidelines of the RBI, they must have a minimum net own fund of 300 crores and having a capital risk assets of 15%. And they shall raise through the either rupee or the dollar denominated bonds. They can take money from outside the country, even from the country, in the case of the dollar or the rupee denominated bonds. These are the new and the revised guidelines by the Reserve Bank of India related to these finance companies and these NBFC. So what can be the question framed here? Under the control of the RBI, under the control of Reserve Bank of India, they are not should be sponsored by NBFC. Initial, this was a case. They should be proposed or sponsored by any NBFC company, but now they can be directly registered under the RBI. A minimum worth of 300 crore is required, and 15% of capital risk weighted assets are required for recognizing any of the company for the infrastructure developments. So these are the important points about this NBFC that you need to be learned. Next is the definition of the green hydrogen. Anybody can tell me the definition of green hydrogen? There is extra is or tail is also attached to that. So this is a very small, like a green hydrogen. They give a specific definition. Whenever there is a question related to the green hydrogen mission or about to green hydrogen, you need to use this specific definition, which is provided by the Government of India. Green hydrogen shall means hydrogen produced using the renewable energy, including but not limited to the production through electrolysis, conversion of biomass. Renewable energy includes such electricity generated from renewable sources, which is stored in any energy storage system. Means the renewable energy which can be produced through the electrolysis, that can also be produced through the biomass, but not only solely dependent on these. There can be some of the another way of producing the hydrogens that should be renewable. And there is also a tail is attached to it. Specific case of the biomass and electrolysis. Means it can only produce not more than 2 kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent in production of per kilogram of hydrogen as an average of a year. So in the case of the green hydrogen produced through the electrolysis, this is attached. It shall not be greater than the 2 kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent per kilogram of hydrogen. Means whenever we are producing hydrogen from the renewable sources, there should not be production more than 2 kg of carbon dioxide production of the 1 kilogram of hydrogen. And this should be an yearly average. And this is important for your prelims perspective. Whenever you are producing a green hydrogen and you are producing the more than the 2 kilograms of the carbon dioxide for the production of 1 kilogram of green hydrogen, that should not be considered as a green hydrogen. Green hydrogen, the mini green word given to so that it can produce the less carbon dioxide. That's why the name green is given to it. So this is the definition given by the Government of India related to the green hydrogen. And the last topic for today is the acoustic side channel attacks. Acoustic side channel attacks. High Rachit, hydrogen derived from water, hydrogen derived from the biomass through the electrolysis, that comes under the green hydrogen. But there is a certain condition that it should produce only the 2 kilograms of CO2 as per production of the 1 kilogram of hydrogen. What is the acoustic side channel attack? Side channel attacks क्या होते हैं? कोई एग्जाम्पल? हाँ, that is specifically the acoustic side channel attacks. Means the side channel attacks, the hacker is not using your devices. They are getting the data through maybe through the charging points, maybe through the speed of your computers, maybe through the की स्ट्रोक्स ऑफ योर कंप्यूटर, आप क्या टाइप कर रहे हैं उसके through the sound of that keystrokes, they are tracking your data, they are tracking your passwords, and that increase through the increase in the artificial intelligence. Through the artificial intelligence, these acoustic side channel increase, and their accuracy is more than 90%. When they start hacking any of the computer, any of the information, their accuracy is more than 90%. Whenever we are using our laptop keypad, we are not aware the information is tracking through the AI sources. We are typing, so through the sound of that typing, the AI is using for tracking the information. And that information attacks are known as the acoustic side channel attacks. जैसे जैसे AI इंक्रीज होता जा रहा है, जैसे जैसे ICT टेक्नोलॉजी इंक्रीज होती जा रही है, there is an increase in the cyber attacks, and this is the type of the cyber attacks is the acoustic side channel attacks. They are taking your information without knowing you. So there can be a simple question. Acoustic side channel attacks was recently mentioned in the news. It is related to the one kind. The second kind of the question, consider the following statements. They will give you the two statements about the side channel attacks that you need to know. The simple question can be framed here. So the acoustic channel attacks is a method of hacking a cryptographic algorithm based on the analysis of auxiliary systems used in the encryption methods. तो जो भी आपके लैपटॉप, कंप्यूटर, मोबाइल डिवाइसेस में जो भी एल्गोरिथम है, these side attacks tracking those algorithms through your usage. They are not directly impacting your devices, but through your usage of that devices, they are taking the information from those devices. Like they can be performed using the collection of signals emitted by the devices. Like whenever you are buying your mobile phone, they are mentioning the SAR value of the mobile phone. कितना radiation emit करता है, कितना signals emit कर रहे हैं. Through that signals, through the electromagnetic waves, through the power consumption by the mobile sensors, as well as through the keyboards. These are the methods जिसके बारे में हम सोचते भी नहीं है कि इससे क्या information leak होगा. Now through the AI, it is possible to hack your devices. So these side channel attacks. And when specifically these attacks are done through the tracking the sound of the keyboards are known as the acoustic side channel attacks. In the side channel attacks, they can be through the power devices, they can be through the radiations, but acoustic side channel are specifically through the sound of the keyboard. Means this is the sound of the keyboard where I am typing. So in that case, each key having a different sound, and that sound are tracked by the artificial intelligence, and they are tracking your devices. So the sound of the click generated by a keyboard is used to analyze the keystrokes and interpret the sensitive information and the leaked information. These attacks are particularly dangerous to a keyboard, are not only readily available, but also because their misuse is underestimated by users. Whenever we are using the laptop keyboard, हम ये सब चीजें तो नहीं सोचते हैं कि आराम से यूज करना है या फास्ट यूज करना है. There should be no sound when we are using the keyboards. But nowadays, everything is possible, and they are tracking your data through the artificial intelligence. The use of laptop increase the scope of the acoustic side channel attacks because this is a compulsion to use the keyboards in the laptops. So the attack intensity is increased. The number of attacks is increased through the side channels. So this is the information about the ACSA, acoustic side channel attacks, means the attacks through the sound generated by the key of the keyboards. And these can be dangerous for hacking the leaked information of the any of the another devices. So these are the 6 topics we covered today. Anybody can tell me the name of the topics we covered? The first topic was covered. Second. Third. Fourth. Fifth. Sixth. Badhiya. Okay, so tomorrow there will be a test at 11 a.m. Some of the question you will find from the discussion itself. And some of the question you will find from the Edukemy current affair that the date I told you in between 21 to 26th August. So it will be a 20 question paper. All will be the MCQ based on the new UPSC pattern, adjacent regions, how many statements are correct, how many pairs are correct. So you can apply your information, what are you getting from the classes and how you are implementing those information to solve a question. And this test will be regular till the end of the prelims. Till now, we conduct almost 13 tests. Tomorrow will be the 14th test, test number 14. So means we are almost conduct the 55 tests, and these 55 tests almost cover 1100 topics. If I am like only the 10% is the appearance rate in the examination, the 11-12 question easily can be solved, means the 25 marks to 26 marks. And that's a huge range in the prelims, where the people are disqualifying through the 1 marks, 1.5 marks, 0.33 marks. And there's no need to go through the various current affairs. You can read the daily current affair from the website. You can attend the class and attempt the Saturday test. That is enough for the prelims. We are taking the editorial session once in a month. That is enough for your mains. You can write a mains answer on daily basis on the basis of the editorial. We are giving a question at the end of the editorial. So you can learn how to write an answer whenever we are reading any of the information. How we can concise an editorial. So the self-reading of the editorial is required because you need to develop your brain, you need to develop your idea. आप किसी से influence नहीं हो रहे हैं. You are developing your view whenever you are writing your answer. तो जब तक आप एक view develop नहीं होगा, you cannot write a good answer. So please try to read a single editorial on daily basis and try to concise that editorial into 150 words. If you are doing this on regular basis in an year, you are compiling the 365 topics. And it will take maximum 40 minutes in a day. So please try to do it. And we are taking the editorial session in the mid of every month. In this month, we are taking on 12 or 13 of September. Okay. So please present on those sessions. I will give you the editorial. You will read here. I will tell you how to use the information of editorials and what kind of the question can be framed from this editorial. So you have a clear idea whenever you are reading any of the news from the paper. Okay. So we will meet tomorrow at 11 a.m. with the test of the current affairs.